Hi there and welcome to V-SWSH Gaming, a brand spanking new YouTube channel dedicated to the Pokemon TCG and the Pokemon franchise in general, because let's be honest, Pokemon franchise is awesome. Put out lots of awesome, really cool, unique content, games. Some of it's not unique, like Pokemon Unite for example, but it's still an awesome, really fun game, and we hope to play some of that on the channel as well. My name is Tyler. I'm your host, but I am not V-SWSH. It's V-SWSH Gaming, but I'm not V-SWSH. This is V-SWSH. V-SWSH is our mascot. Say hi, V-SWSH. V-SWSH says hi. She also says to subscribe. This is a brand new channel, and in order to get off the ground, we will need a little bit of your help, but that's okay. You don't have to do it right now. You can wait until later in the video and decide if you like this format of how I'm doing this series, which this series is going to be a series of videos on building really interesting, unique decks that I've come up with myself for the expanded format, usually utilizing some of the new cards that come out in the new sets, like Celebrations, Evolving Skies, and now Fusion Strike, and utilizing all these different cards we have available and expanded to make a really interesting and fun deck builds for a relatively cheap cost. So the deck that we have today, and with the way that I have it built, it only costs around $30 total for a really, I think, a really powerful competitive deck, but you could certainly get it even cheaper than that. Now, what is this deck? Let's move me a little bit over here. Right there is good. I was looking at Groudon and Kyogre from Celebrations, and I ended up building that Kyogre Groudon deck that some people are building for really cheap. It cost me like $6 or whatever, and I'm not doing a video on that today because that's already been done. But when I was looking for that, I noticed a really cool looking card, and that is Lugia, a single prize basic Pokemon in the Celebrations set. And so I ordered a bunch of copies. I think it was like 20 cents each, and I was like, dang, these could go in a lot of different decks, but at the same time, I think we can actually build an entire deck based on this card. And so I did it. Lugia, for 2 colorless energy, can do 20 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. There's a copy of this card, basically. This is a really popular card on the Pokemon TCG online. I still, to this day, see people using this, trying to get a quick win. So I saw this, and I'm like, dang, I think we can actually utilize this because we can get quick damage. We can start putting pressure on the opponent really fast. And the fact that it's colorless and it's a basic that's not an EX or a GX, it gives us some interesting options. And not a V as well, obviously. So let's take a look. What we're going to do is we're going to use literally nothing but special energy in the whole deck. No basic energy, only special energy in the entire deck. And I think we can pull this off. So we're going to use double colorless, twin energy, that if it's on a Pokemon that's not a V or a G, it's a double colorless. And then counter energy, which is if you're losing, it counts as 2 of any energy. And a powerful energy, which effectively, in terms of damage, is kind of like a double colorless for Lugia, because you're getting the 20 for attaching it and 20 more if it's on a colorless Pokemon. So that's awesome. Now, if we're going all special energy is very difficult to accelerate, so that you're attaching more than one energy during your turn. And so there's not a lot of options for accelerating special energy. It's supposed to be difficult. It's made like that on purpose. But we were given this card in Sun and Moon Unbroken Bonds, which is as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a special energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. This doesn't have to go to a benched Pokemon. And it's not one extra special energy. It's as many as you have in your hand, as often as you like during your turn. So if you can attach all the special energy in your hand, and then if you can cycle through your deck some more, if you can get some more cards, if you can use a Cynthia and maybe get some more special energy in your hand, you can now just attach those as well. So as many special energy as you can get in your hand during that turn, you can attach them with this card, which is awesome. We also are going to need Porygon and Porygon-Z as well, and I decided to go with the ones from Sun and Moon Unbroken Bonds because they enable you to draw cards. We're going to need to work pretty quickly to get this deck to actually work well. And so it's nice that these can draw 1 and 2 cards, especially if you end up accidentally with Porygon as your first Pokemon. He's your only active Pokemon. You can't get another Pokemon, or you can't get a Lugia out or another one of your actual damage-dealing cards. Then you can at least, it can help you to cycle through your deck. But the other thing about it too is, in case that happens, it has a retreat cost of 1. So it's easy to get out of that situation as well. Winona is a really interesting card. She hasn't had a reprint yet. I think she deserves a reprint, because this is a really cool card, because a lot of times colorless Pokemon are a little bit weaker than Pokemon with other types, and that's because they can go in any deck, and because their energy cost is any type. So it makes them a little easier to use, so they're usually a little bit weaker. But if you want to build a colorless deck, something like Winona is basically essential. You can search for 3 colorless Pokemon. It doesn't have to be basic. It can be Evolution, V, GX, doesn't matter. That's awesome. That's really potent. So we're going to have 4 of those in the deck for sure. Some other supporter cards that I thought would be important are Cynthia and Shauna. And I didn't end up including Sycamore in there, at least for my build, my personal build of this, because I want to be careful before you get Porygon-Z. I don't want to discard too many of the special energy, because there's only so many really viable special energy that we can use in this deck. So you just want to be careful with that in case the game goes a little bit longer, if they're able to knock out your Lugias quickly, because it's only 130 HP on each Lugia, right? So Cynthia is kind of the more expensive option. Shauna is a little cheaper. Birdkeeper is another option that I thought about, because I thought, you know, I think it would be nice to have some switching capability in here. Well, we could put switches and we could put more cards that enable us to draw, but why not put the two together so we're taking up less slots in the deck? Because in order for this deck to really perform, you need to start putting damage and pressure on your opponent as quickly as possible. That's kind of the point of Arrow Ball. So being able to just kind of combine those capabilities, I felt like was a pretty good option, as well as a low budget option, because you can get Birdkeeper for like 25 cents. This is another thing that I was looking at as a possibility to go into the deck. Puzzle of Time, all the way back from XY Breakpoint. Which it was about at this point that I actually started playing the TCG. I've been collecting for 20 years, more than 20 years now. Jeez, that's a long... I look younger than I am. I am young, but I look even younger. This is about when I started actually playing the game with other people. And this is a really interesting card, because you can play 2 at the same time, and if you do, you can put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. This is a great way to get 2 special energy from your discard directly into your hand, and now you can attach them if you have Porygon-Z. So if that's 2 double colorless energy, and you're attaching them to a Lugia, that's an additional 80 damage just because you're able to pull those cards out of the discard pile. So that's really potent, but you have to get 2 of them in your hand at the same time and use them, right? You can play 2 of them at once if you played 2. Yeah, I don't think you can play one and then play another. It has to be at the same time. So your only viable way of doing this is if you have 4 copies of this card in your deck. And even then, I think it can still be kind of difficult, and you got to get the energy in your discard. So it's a maybe for me, you know. Special Charge is another cool card from XY Steam Siege, which was a really fun, really interesting set, right? With all those double type Pokemon. But this allows you to shuffle 2 special energy cards from your discard pile back into your deck. And so if the game is going a little bit longer, this is a good option. This is going to enable you to elongate the game and get energy back if you're burning through them too quickly. But it's not a good, like, let's get this done quickly. Let's start putting damage out quickly. This is more if the game's going medium to long, right? So this is kind of an idea that I had for Puzzle of Time. What if you had battle compressors in there and you just are purposely discarding special energy and you're using Puzzle of Time to get those out? The only problem is that now you're needing a battle compressor and you're needing 2 copies of Puzzle of Time in your hand. And hopefully Porygon-Z already on the bench. So to me it's a little bit risky to go for this. And so it's a maybe for me once again. But it's something that if you have any other ideas or ways that you think you could pull this off, this is definitely an option that's available. What I ended up going with is honestly just going for drawing power and cycling through the deck as much as possible to get as many of those special energy out early on. And then maybe if you wanted to, if the game goes longer, putting special charge. And I didn't end up going with this option really right here. But really more I was thinking, let's just go for drawing power. And then maybe special charge if you find that that's something that is needed in the deck. And those special charges, they're really cheap. So you could always just order a few of those. Even if you're not going to initially build the deck like that. And you can kind of cycle some cards out, try some different things, and really find what version of the deck works best for you. Now, Blissey V. I didn't notice this in Chilling Reign. I didn't actually like the Chilling Reign set too much. I thought the pull rates were pretty bad. I never actually got very good pulls. And the pulls that we did get, I was like, meh. There's nothing like to write home about, at least to me. So I didn't take a look very much at Chilling Reign until I was building this deck. And I noticed this freaking Blissey V. What the heck, man? This thing can accelerate 3, count 'em, 3 special energy from the discard directly to this Pokemon. Now, if that is a powerful energy or a double colorless energy, man, you are now attaching 120 extra damage to Blissey just by using this attack once. That's cool, but you have to have that energy in the discard first, which is why Blissey is a great option later in the game, or if you want to go for this whole kind of battle compressor idea, put energy in the discard on purpose, that's definitely something you could go for. You got options with this. But even without that, it still actually could be a pretty good card to start with, because if you can get that Porygon out, you can just accelerate these double colorless and these powerful. And even if you're accelerating like counter energy or whatever, it's still counting as a single colorless energy, so you're still doing 30 additional damage for doing that. So that's cool. We like that. Let's move on. Obviously, we're going to need rare candy so we can get Porygon out as quickly as possible. That's going to be important, because if we can get him out, I say him, but it's literally genderless. It's literally an it. If we can get it out turn 2 and start accelerating energy that soon, you can start getting knockouts really quickly. And what's cool about Lugia is even that second attack for 4 energy to do 160, that's potent. Because you could do that turn 2. That's potent. Because we're doing so many doubles in the deck. So it's definitely totally possible, totally viable. So here's what I was kind of thinking is if we get a Winona and a rare candy in our hand, first hand, I don't know, honestly, like maybe we get a Porygon first. And second turn we can use Winona to search for a Lugia and a Porygon-Z, and we can already evolve into that Porygon-Z. Or even if you don't get those cards to start with, you get like a basic Pokemon that you didn't want. Then turn 2, at least you're getting like the ball rolling on setting up your bench. And within only a couple of turns, you can get that Porygon-Z out and start accelerating any special energy you get into your hand. So that's cool. That's fun. I wanted to talk a little bit about Skyla. Because Skyla is a really cool option in expanded decks if you have cards that she can help you find that you can use immediately. Because if you use Skyla to search for another supporter card, then like it's not doing you that much good. There's other supporter cards that can help you search for supporter cards. There's even item cards that can help you search for supporter cards. So Skyla is really only good if you have a bunch of trainer cards in the deck that you're going to be able to use immediately. Like, let's say you need an additional 20 damage just to knock out the tag team that's in front of you, or the VMAX that's in front of you. But you don't have a way to get more special energy into your hand, but you've got a Skyla. If you've got a muscle band or a choice band in the deck, or something like that, then you can get that additional damage that's going to enable you to finish off that Pokemon and get those prize cards. Or maybe you have one Puzzle of Time in your hand, you just need one more so you can get 2 special energy that you can accelerate onto your Pokemon. You can use Skyla to search for that one more Puzzle of Time, or a rare candy to evolve to Porygon-Z, stadium to get rid of your opponent's stadium, you know, whatever it is. It's just something to keep in mind if you have a lot of trainer cards that are viable for that. Skyla is a good option. I've had really good luck with Skyla in decks like that. These are some other cards that I thought about that we could include. I was looking for stadiums that would be like particular to this deck, that would really help this deck. And what I ended up kind of deciding on is, I think Rose Tower is kind of our option, because we're using a lot of the cards in our hand. As we're getting special energy, we're using it. We get Porygon, Porygon 2, Porygon 3 we can evolve in. Lugia we can stick just straight onto the bench. Blissey we can stick straight onto the bench. Yeah, anyway, I almost revealed another card that I want to wait and do a bigger reveal when I show you the actual... I gotta leave some things, you know, towards the end of the video so that you'll stay, right? Yeah, so we're utilizing so many cards, so I think we'll end up with a very small hand. So having Rose Tower and other things like that is going to be beneficial to us. And then obviously Boss's Orders, Guzma, always nice to be able to snipe cards. Snipe your opponent's bench. One thing to actually point out about that real quick too is if your opponent is avoiding putting energy on their active so that you're not getting additional damage. Because Lugia does 20 more damage for each energy on your opponent's active as well. And so if you can use Boss's Orders to pull out that Pokemon that they're loading energy onto preemptively and do additional damage, so let's say 60 extra damage because it's got 3 energy on it, that could be the knockout, right? That's awesome. So I think that's important to have in our deck. So all that being said, here is the deck that I came up with. This is what I would purchase, and this is what I think I would have the most fun with at a very, very, very reasonable price for something that I think would be really potent. We've got 4 copies of Lugia, 4 copies of Porygon, only 2 copies of Porygon 2, 3 copies of Porygon-Z, 4 copies of Rare Candy, 4 copies of Double Colorless, Twin, Counter, and Powerful Energy. 4 copies of Cynthia, or this could be Shauna if you want to go even cheaper. 2 copies of Birdkeeper, 4 copies of Winona, 1 copy of Guzma, a copy of Choice Band. It's a lot cheaper than Muscle Band, that's why I went for it. And people are still using GX Pokemon, like tag teams, you know. You're getting 30 extra damage. Rose Tower, I already talked about why that one. Bicycle, very similar to Rose Tower. I think there's going to be a lot of situations where we end up with very few cards in our hand, and we can just draw back up. If you get another Bicycle, you can use the other cards in your hand, use another Bicycle. Pokénav. What's cool about Pokénav is we can actually look at the top 3 cards, take a Pokemon or an energy. And that doesn't have to be a basic. That can be any energy card. So it could be a special energy card. So that's cool. 1 copy of Air Balloon. So we can get out... so we can get Lugia out of there, Porygon out of there, Porygon 2, Porygon-Z, as well as a couple other options like Crobat V. That's going to enable us to just set up quickly, especially if you can get that Crobat V into your hand as you're cycling through your deck so much. 2 copies of Blissey V and 3 copies of Draw Energy. Now, I'm sure that you could make this even more potent, especially with more dollars added. But this is what I came up with at a very reasonable... Oh, I almost forgot. This one I added last second, Oranguru. this is another way that we can draw additional cards when we are low on cards. So there's a ton of ways that we're just drawing cards, cycling through the deck, setting up very quickly. $30, you guys, including shipping. Come on, is that okay? Do you like that? Do you like this? If you like this, please give me likes. Please let me know. If this is something that you actually want, I really do need to actually know. And so if you can let me know actually in the comments that you like this or that you have different ideas, I'd love to know other ideas that you have for decks like this. Let's get a conversation going, because I can't look at all the cards in Expanded for each deck that I try to build. I can do as much research as possible, but I don't know every single card that exists, and I can't always remember every card that would be pertinent to every deck. So please, let's open it up in the comments. If you have ideas to make this an even better higher budget deck, or even a better lower budget deck, I'm super open to that, and I'd love to even have the conversation back and forth with you. Let's come up with ideas. Let's have fun with it. Let's make this interactive. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this format and this kind of idea for a series of expanded and just fun non-meta builds, then give me a like and a subscribe, and let's do more. I already have some other ones in the works. I'm already working on some other presentations for some really interesting and kind of fun builds to kind of break the meta of standard, of expanded, but I really like to focus on expanded. We got a lot more fun options. And then, yeah, Vixie agrees. You should subscribe, click that notification bell so that you can get notified when new videos come out. So hope you enjoyed this special Arrow Lugia deck. We're planning on doing some other fun videos, like we want to do actually a booster box opening. I've been waiting to do a booster box opening, but YouTube doesn't let me do a YouTube live yet. So hopefully they will in the next 24 hours. We'll see. But I hope to see a lot more of you. We're going to have a lot of fun with this channel. And I hope to see you around. See you in the next one.